Namaste. Welcome to Samveda e-learning program. Children, today is the continued discussion of the chapter The Fundamental Unit of Life. This is the fifth chapter of your textbook. Please keep your textbook and notebook, pen open to note down the points of today's discussion. Today is the second session of the chapter. Now, let us try to recall whatever we have studied in our previous session. In the previous session, we have understood that what are living organisms made up of. We have also understood about unicellular and multicellular organisms, shape and size of cells, a little about components of cell. Now, let us know learning points of today's session. Transport across membranes. Under this, it includes osmosis and diffusion. Cell wall, its structure and function. We are also going to discuss about nucleus and about prokaryotic and eukaryotic organisms. Now, let us move for our discussion of the concepts. Transport across membranes. Any material that should enter to the cell and move out of the cell must pass through cell membrane. So, how the transportation happens through the cell membrane? It can mainly happen by two ways. Based on energy requirement, material can transport through the membrane in two ways. One, it is active transport which requires spending up of energy. Another one, it is passive transport which do not require spending of energy. Under passive transport, there are two types again. It is diffusion and osmosis. Let us understand in detail about these osmosis and diffusion. First, let us know what is diffusion. Children, you have studied about diffusion in your previous classes. Can you try to recall its definition? Yes, diffusion can be defined as spontaneous movement of substances that can be solid, liquid or gases from a region of higher concentration to a region of lower concentration. This diffusion can happen in any state of matter. To understand the process of diffusion, let us do a simple activity. To understand diffusion, I am taking a beaker with water and a pinch of food color. This food color I will add to the beaker with water. Observe carefully how the diffusion of food color particles happens in the beaker with water. You can clearly observe how the molecules of food color is moving from top layers to the lower layers. It gets diffused in the solution until entire solution get equal concentration of food color. From the activity that is done, you have understood how the particles diffuse from region of higher concentration to the region of lower concentration without any external force. Now, how this diffusion happens in the cell? Let us know more about it. Diffusion across cell membranes. Mainly in the cell, two substances keep on moving in and out. They are metabolic gases. Metabolic gases like oxygen and carbon dioxide move in and out of the cell through the process of diffusion. How this carbon dioxide moves? Let us try to understand. Carbon dioxide is a cellular waste. It is produced inside the cell during the process of respiration. This carbon dioxide, which is a waste, should go out of the cell. In order to send the carbon dioxide out of the cell, the process of diffusion get involved. This carbon dioxide get accumulated in higher concentration inside the cell, whereas its concentration in the external environment will be comparatively low. As there is difference in the concentration of carbon dioxide, it moves from cell to the external environment. Here a picture is there. Look at that, children. Blue color circle represent cell. Look at that cell carefully. Inside the cell there are some particles. What are those particles? Those particles are of carbon dioxide. Those carbon dioxide molecule inside the cell is 8 in number, whereas outside it is 3. So, inside the cell concentration is more, outside the cell concentration is less. What would be the direction of movement? Carbon dioxide moves from inside the cell to the external environment spontaneously by the process of diffusion. This diffusion takes place for intake of oxygen also. Oxygen gas must enter the cell for the process of respiration. When the cell has less amount of oxygen, then oxygen from the external environment having higher concentration move into the cell by the process of diffusion. This happens whenever oxygen concentration is less inside the cell. Let us try to understand it again with the help of picture. Here you can see blue color circle represent cell. Inside the cell there are some molecules. They are molecules of oxygen. Inside the cell oxygen molecules are less, whereas outside the cell oxygen molecules are more. According to the rule of diffusion, oxygen moves from external environment to the cell. Here blue color molecules represent oxygen gas. Let us know another process by which material passes in the cell, that is called as osmosis. What is osmosis? Osmosis is called as special case of diffusion. Children, diffusion can happen in any state of matter, solid, liquid or gas, whereas osmosis is movement of water from the area of higher concentration to the area of lower concentration through semi-permeable membrane. Here is a picture showing osmosis. In picture A you can see water is there on one side and in between there is semi-permeable membrane. That water through semi-permeable membrane moves to the other side of the beaker having salt solution. There salt molecules are there, that means water concentration is less. Water from region of higher concentration moves to the other end until there is equal concentration of water on both the side. It happens only for solvent molecules like water. What will happen if we put an animal cell or plant cell in a solution of salt or sugar in water? The cell may swell up or remain same or it can shrink. Any of these three can happen when cell is placed to the solution of sugar or salt. To understand osmosis, let us do a simple activity. To do this activity, I am taking 2 glasses with water. Raisins are there. Raisins are nothing but dried grapes, and I am taking salt. In first beaker, I have only water. To that, I will add few raisins. In another beaker, I will add little amount of salt to prepare salt solution. And I will mix it. To this solution, I will add some swollen dried grapes that was first added to the water. I am adding swollen raisins to this beaker containing salt solution. After some time, you will observe that raisins in this beaker having water will swell up, whereas raisins in beaker with salt solution will shrink. Let us see how the raisins have swollen and shrunk. You can see here, children, after some time raisins have swollen like this in the beaker in which water was there. Whereas in beaker containing salt, resins were comparatively shrunk. This means that whenever there is dilute solution and the cell is placed in the dilute solution, cell will swell up. Whereas when a cell is placed in concentrated solution, cell will shrink. From this activity, you have understood that cell can swell up or shrink based on solution in which it is placed. Hypotonic solution where there will be endosmosis. What is this? Let us understand that. If a medium surrounding the cell is having more water concentration, that means solution is dilute than the water concentration inside the cell. Then by the process of osmosis, water from external medium enters to the cell. This process of osmosis where water enters to the cell is called as endosmosis. This process of endosmosis make the cell swells up. Such solution which is dilute, which has less concentration of water is called as hypotonic solution. Whereas there will be some solution which will have equal concentration to that of the water present inside the cell. Such solution are called as isotonic solution. Iso means equal. If the medium is exactly the same water concentration as that of the cell, some molecules of water enter inside the cell. Same number of water molecules move out. So, the net movement of the water molecule will be 0, hence cell size remains same. In isotonic solution, cell neither swells nor shrink, it remains same. Hypertonic solution, exosmosis. In the hypertonic solution, external media has less water concentration. That means the external medium is concentrated, whereas inside the cell water molecules are more. So, by the process of osmosis, water from inside the cell move out. So, the osmosis is called exosmosis. This process makes the cell to get shrunk. In the first picture you can see, this is the image of the cell placed in hypertonic solution. Children, observe the arrow mark. In the hypertonic solution, arrow marks are showing that water is coming out and the cell has shrunk. In the second image, water is getting into the cell and even going out in equal concentration. Hence, the cell size remains same. Whereas in hypotonic solution, there is entry of water into the cell which makes the cell to get swollen. What is the importance of osmosis? In case of unicellular freshwater organisms, they gain the water through the process of osmosis. Even in the plant cells, water is gained by the process of osmosis. You know that there is a part of plant which absorbs the water. Children, which part of plant absorb water? It is root. Root cells can absorb water by the process of osmosis. In case of plant leaves, on the surface of the leaves, there is small pore-like structure called as stomata, which helps in exchange of gases. This stomata can open and close by the process of osmosis. Now, let us understand a phenomenon called as endocytosis. Children, let us understand the meaning of the word first. Endo means inside, cyte means cell. That means endocytosis is a process by which unicellular organisms engulf food or other substances from its external environment. Amoeba acquires its food through endocytosis. You can see the image of amoeba. Amoeba is specialized in not having any fixed shape. It is having finger-like projections called as pseudopodium. This pseudopodium helps in engulfing the food. The process of engulf of food by amoeba is called as endocytosis. Now, let us understand a component of the cell, that is cell wall. Cell wall is observed in plant cells, fungal cells and bacterial cells, but it is not present in animal cell. It is rigid, semi-elastic and protective layer. Rigid means it is strong and semi-elastic. Unlike plasma membrane, which is elastic in nature, cell wall is not elastic. It is the outermost covering which is present outside the cell membrane. It is permeable and supportive. What is the meaning of permeable, children? Permeable means which permits entry of substances. In plant cell, cell wall is made up of cellulose. Animal cells lack cell wall. What is the function of cell wall? Let us understand functions of cell wall. Cell wall provides shape to the cell. As it is rigid and outermost covering, it provides shape to the cell. You can see a plant cell here. In the plant cell, outer covering of dark green represent cell wall. That cell wall is providing proper shape to the plant cell. It provides mechanical strength to the plants. Plants are non-locomotive. They do not move from place to place. So, by being in the same place, they need to withstand all harsh environmental conditions. To withstand harsh environmental conditions, plants are adapted with cell wall. Cell wall protect the cell from pathogens and mechanical injuries. What are pathogens, children? Pathogens are disease-causing microorganisms. Cell wall can also prevent bursting of the cell on endosmosis. Endosmosis means entry of water into the cell. What would happen to a cell if it is placed in very dilute solution? Children, hope you have guessed it right. When a cell is placed in very dilute solution, it gets swollen up. When there is excessive swelling, it may burst out. But cell wall prevent bursting of cells. How can it happen? Let us understand it. As the water enters to the living cells, their protoplasm will swells up. As the protoplasm swells up, it builds pressure on the cell wall. In turn, cell wall will also exert equal and opposite pressure on the protoplasm, which avoid further entry of water molecules to the cell, hence it prevents bursting of cell. Let us understand a process of plasmolysis. Plasmolysis is a process of shrinkage of contents of cell away from the cell wall as a result of loss of water from the cell. Whenever a cell is placed in hypertonic solution, cell will shrink. This shrinkage of cell having cell wall is called as plasmolysis. One image is there where the cell has undergone plasmolysis. Plasmolysed cells are there. Observe that carefully. Contents of the cell has shrunk from the cell wall. Contents is away from the cell wall. So, this process happens in the cells having cell wall, that is in plant cell, bacterial cell and fungal cell. It happens only in the cells having cell wall. The phenomenon is observed only in living cells. Dead cells do not show plasmolysis. Let us now understand about one important component of cell, that is nucleus. Nucleus is a dense protoplasmic body that contains hereditary information for controlling cellular activities as well as that hereditary characters will be transferred from one generation to another generation. Nucleus controls all the activities of the cell. That's why it is called as brain of the cell. It plays very important role in cellular reproduction, that is in cell division. Here is a picture of nucleus. Nucleus, which is a spherical body. Let us understand about structure of this nucleus. Nucleus has double layered membrane that separates nucleus from cytoplasm. That layers covering the nucleus is called as nuclear membrane. This nuclear membrane has pores with which materials can move in and out of the cell. Those pores on the nuclear membrane is called as nuclear pore. In the outer membrane, pores are seen in the picture. Inside the nucleus, there will be dense colorless liquid that's called as nucleoplasm. There is a round structure inside the nucleus which is called as nucleolus. Here image is given again. In the center, dark pink structure is there. The dark pink structure is labeled as nucleolus. Around the nucleolus, there are many thread-like structure, hair-like structure. Those thread-like structures are made up of DNA and protein. They are called as chromatin network. Chromosomes are very important part of the nucleus. Chromosomes are rod or thread-like structures which get formed from chromatin network only during cell division. Before and after cell division, chromosomes get converted to chromatin network. Chromosomes contain information for inheritance of characters from parents to the next generation in the form of DNA molecules. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. Chromosomes are composed of DNA and protein. DNA molecules contain information necessary for constructing a cell. This is the structure of DNA. It looks like tilted ladder. This DNA will have information for all the characters that we have. Only a segment of DNA or the part of DNA have information. That segment of DNA or part of DNA is called as genes. So, where are genes present, children? Genes are present on chromosomes. Where are chromosomes present? Yes, children, chromosomes are present in the nucleus of the cell. Children, can you identify this cell? Yes, you have guessed it right. It is a bacterial cell. I'll show you another cell. Try to identify it. Which cell is this? This is plant cell. Observe the nucleus of bacterial cell and plant cell. Are they similar? No, they are not similar. They are different. In what way they are different? Try to observe its structure. Look at the nucleus in the plant cell. It is having outer covering, whereas in the nucleus of the bacterial cell, it is not having any covering, only thread-like structures are visible. That means nucleus structure is not same in all the cells. It differs from cell to cell. So, based on the type of nucleus that the cells will have, there are two types of cells. They are prokaryotic and eukaryotic cells. Prokaryotic cells are generally small, whereas eukaryotic cells are large. In prokaryotic cells, as you have seen in bacterial cell, nuclear region is not defined. It is not having nuclear membrane and it is called as nucleoid. Pro means primitive, karyon means nucleus. Primitive nucleus is seen in prokaryotic cell, whereas in eukaryotic cell, U means true, karyon means nucleus. Nuclear region is well defined and it is true nucleus surrounded by nuclear membrane. In prokaryotic cell, chromosome is single, whereas in eukaryotic cell, chromosomes are more in number. In prokaryotic cells, only membrane-less cell organelles are seen. Membrane-bound cell organelles are absent, whereas in eukaryotic cell, all types of cell organelles are seen. Bacteria is an example for prokaryotic cell. For eukaryotic cell, plant cells and animal cells are the best examples. Now, let us have some multiple choice questions which help you to recall what we have studied till now. First question, a cell placed in dilute solution burst up. It is option A, animal cell, option B, plant cell, option C, bacterial cell, option D, fungal cell. Children, which is the correct answer then? Correct answer is option A, animal cell. Plasmolysis in a plant cell is defined as option A, breakdown of plasma membrane in hypotonic solution, shrinkage of nucleoplasm, swelling of cell in hypertonic solution, shrinkage of cytoplasm in hypertonic solution. What is the correct answer, children? Correct answer is option D, that is shrinkage of cytoplasm in hypertonic solution, in hypertonic medium. Prokaryotes have undefined nuclear region called. What is the nucleus of prokaryotes called? Options: nucleus, nucleolus, nucleoid and nucleic acid. Can you guess the correct option, children? Correct option is C, nucleoid. Chromosomes are made up of option A, DNA and protein, option B, RNA and protein, option C, DNA and RNA, option D, protein. So, the correct option is option A. Question is little lengthy, children, but answer will be easy. A student put 5 raisins in 2 beakers. Beaker A contains 20 ml of distilled water, beaker B has 20 ml of saturated sugar solution. After some time, the student observed that raisins in beaker A were more swollen than those in beaker B. Raisins in beaker B were more swollen than those in beaker A. Raisins in both the beakers are equally swollen. Raisins in beaker A did not swell up at all. Children, this activity we had done before. So, what would be the correct option? In beaker A, distilled water is there where the raisin swells up. In beaker B, saturated sugar solution is there where the cell will not swell up. So, what would be the correct answer? It is option A. Raisin swells up in beaker A compared to the beaker B. Take down some questions for your home assignment. Try to answer them from your understanding of the lesson and get it corrected from your teachers. First question, what is endocytosis? Where are genes located? What happens when a cell is placed in distilled water and why? Children, I think you are writing down the questions. Fourth question, explain the structure and function of nucleus. Fifth question, list down the differences between prokaryotic and eukaryotic organisms. Write answers for this question and get it corrected from your teachers. Myself Kriti Hegde, working as assistant teacher at Adarsha Vidyalaya Tatikallu, Mulubagal, Kolar district. Thank you. Let us meet up in next session.